If you're thinking of a website redesign in 2020, then you need to consider the latest design trends that are filtering through the web at the moment. Getting a fresh design gives your site longevity. You can, instead of choosing just a template straight off the shelf that you can just inject your content through, that'll get old pretty quickly. But if you design a site that has personality and really brings your brand to life, then a fresh design and a custom design designed by a visual graphic designer can really bring your brand to life. You'll get some great longevity. So what are some trends? Let's have a look at the top 6 for 2020. The first one is large type. Now, for old dudes like me, I love that this trend is really bringing bold, large typefaces to the screen, but also giving a nice contrast between text, easily readable text, I should say. So don't hesitate to move towards that. You can actually do that with your existing site by changing some of the style sheeting. However, a fresh design will really bring those large typefaces out and give you a nice bold statement. The second is illustration. If you really want to add personality to your brand, then there's nothing like some handcrafted illustrations to actually do that. So don't hesitate to really think about either your product or your logo style or your service offerings. How can you bring that to life with not just iconography that you again buy off the shelf in stock libraries, that you may want to do some custom illustration. It will really add some personality. The third is use of full screen design. So we're used to now dealing in our mobile responsive environment with many of our websites. However, now there's a trend to not only just do that, but also fill that big space of a large screen, not just box it in a standard scrolling environment. So there are templates around to do that, but to make use of that, you need to be clever about your placement of content and how users guide through their using your UX and UI to really craft a large interactive environment. Can be quite challenging to do, and then to translate that down to mobile can also be extremely challenging. So a great one to actually experiment with, but maybe challenging for a standard style of site. The fourth is monochromatic color. Now, you'll see on some examples here what that looks like. It can add a style of modern, chic feel to your site that you otherwise wouldn't be able to maintain with varying styles of photography. So you can balance out using different types of photography by using monochromatic color in that overlay of the site. The minimalists now will love this. Look, large type and monochromatic color, large white spaces to bring that together. We're getting minimal in some cases. On the back side of that is animation. There are now some tools that make animating the web in large screen and small screen a much easier thing to do, albeit you will need some budget to achieve these sort of styles, but have a look at GreenSock as an example of that. It gives you a API style of tools, CSS tools that you can use to really animate and bring your pages to life. There's some great examples of that on screen, as you can see. The last but not least is the use of dark themes and light themes in contrast. So, for example, Anthony Bradovich, call out to you as a UX designer for the ABC, has just released on their mobile version a dark version of their full navigating website. So this is very cool. People at night, obviously, you may want to change that contrast to a much easily readable site, usable site. Hey, it's not for me, but I've got staff that use dark green right through the day as well. But to give that choice between that flip between light and dark can be quite solid. Some designers are going, the full dark look is really the way to go. However, I'd tend to hesitate with that with a lot of commercial style of websites. It just becomes very challenging to present your product in that environment if it may not suit. Again, all these are related to your brand. If there's a good match that makes sense, work with your design team to really work through those examples and see what you can do to bring your brand to life this year. We look forward to seeing you throughout 2020, and we'll catch up soon.